Hey guys, welcome back to Tamiya Legends, and once again, thank you for stopping by. So in today's video, we're going to be building this bad boy. We'll do this in 3 stages video-wise. We'll do a full chassis build, fit the electrics in today's video. Then I'll do a shorter shell video because there's not a great deal to it. And then thirdly, we'll do a running video. But before we get into the actual build, just a massive thank you for Euro RC for sponsoring today's video. As you're probably aware by now, Euro RC can be found across all the social media platforms. In this video's description, I'll put the link to their website and also our 5% discount promo code in the description as well. So if you're going to buy from Euro RC, please use that code because it's a saving that is well worth it, isn't it? So then, let's get building. Right, so that's the first stage, which is the rear gearbox. Kit comes with a full bearing set in it, and there's quite a few metal parts, like the little metal diff gears. And, well, the full diff gears are metal front and back, which is pretty cool, but more importantly, it's got a full set of bearings with it. So next up, just to put the two housings together, and then we'll fit the GT tuned 25 turn motor in there, which also comes in the kit. Right, so that's the gearbox. That's just sort of held together with 2 screws at bolts at this stage. Next up on the instructions, we're up to stage 4, which is to fit the motor it comes with. And this is a GT tuned. So this is a 25 turn brushed motor. It's nothing flash, but at least it's better than a Silvercan 540. The kit also comes with 2 pinions, interestingly, a 13 and a 15. So I'm going to put the bigger one, I'm going to put the 15 on just to give it a little bit more top end. So yeah, as I say, let's get that motor mounted. Right, that's the rear box complete basically. Still only 2 screws holding it together at the moment, but the GT tune motor's in there. It's quite a horrible thing. Underneath this washer and then a large plastic washer, there's 4 long metal shims that denote position wise what size pinion you're using. And they are a little bit fiddly. It's a very old school method of lining your pinion up. Anyway, it's done. So the next step now is the front gearbox. Right, so that's how the front gearbox goes together. Just thought I'd show you it before I bolt it all together, so you get the gist of it. So that's all the bearings used that I've got so far, but there'll be more in the kit for the front and rear wheel hubs. So yeah, let's take a crack on. Right, so that's up to stage 10. Which are the rear lower arms made up with all the bits on and bearings in the hubs, and the top arms on. So next stage is 11, where we just got to put the dog bones in and basically the top screws in, and that's that rear end finished. Right, that's the rear end with the arms all done and finished. All very straightforward. Right, so manual wise, that's us on to stage 12, which is doing the front hubs and uprights and arms. It's quite involved, this bit. Right, that's the front gearbox built, obviously, with the arms on now. And I've just dropped it. That's how strong Tamiya are. Look, that's what it does. And that's now front and back done. So we're moving on to the next stage, which is 15. Which is actually the chassis. Now I might paint that driver now. All I'm going to do, because you don't see this because there's a lot of netting once the guards go on, so I'm just going to blast it over. I'm going to brush white on it, probably a couple of coats depending. I want a bit of black coming through, and then I'll just put some black seat belts on. I think we get decals for it, and then on his helmet I just need to do flesh colour and maybe blast his helmet over in white. Right, so we're going to paint it afterwards. So instead, now, as you can see, we've got it built up. So the rear anti-sway bar is now in position and connected. We've got the main prop shaft in position, which is pinned in with the front gearboxes and the front shock brackets. So next on the instructions now is to build the shocks up. Right, that's up to stage 23, front and rear shocks with oil in them. So now moving on to step 24, which is to fit the front shocks. Right, that's the front shocks on, as you can see. Lovely, lovely jubbly. Right, that was my weird voice, wasn't it? Right, next is definitely got to paint a driver because I can't do anything else. I'm gonna have to paint his helmet as well. Right, so it's the morning after, and obviously last night I just put the paint on the driver. So just painted the driver white, left the black off the seatbelts because that's decals. Should have really done the buckle silver, but you really don't see much of his driver. He's really hidden away. Didn't even paint the helmet, just left it white, but obviously just put flesh and a bit of black rim and eyes. So anyway, that's more than good enough for this car. So next stage now is to dig my electrics out because I think it's the steering we've got to fit on next. So I'll do this all off camera, but I'll zero the steering servo out and then we'll start making the turnbuckles up for it. Right, so that is the electrics fitted. It's quite an odd one on, if you've never built a Hotshot before, it is quite an odd setup from everything else. It's kind of in its own little complex, then that bolts to the chassis. So I've gone for an oldish Co-Pro steering servo. It's not particularly great, but it'll be good enough for this car. I'm using my Tekken brush speedo just because it's small. As you can see, we've got the wires tidy enough. Got the switch coming through, which is not ideal, but it'll allow me to use it. So I've tested it all, everything's zeroed. I've made the steering turnbuckles up. So the next step now is to get this bolted to the chassis, connect to turnbuckles for the steering, and then we finally get to start the sort of cage. So yeah, we're getting there now. Right, we're up to step 31, which is now putting the frame together. So now we've got to do, well, I've done the arduous task of cutting the netting out. Horrible job. And now with the black cable ties, we attach those to both edge frames and then we put both frames together. I'm just looking at instructions. And at the same time as we mount the cage to the car, then the aluminium roof goes on as well. So I'll get all that done off camera because it is a little bit fiddly. Right, so that's basically the frame on at the initial stage. It's only actually on with 3 bolts at the moment. Probably out of all the Tamiya cars I've built, this Hotshot cage is probably one of my least favourite things to do. I just find it horrible to work on. You're always moving the netting, basically, it's not even worth trying to sort the netting out until the car's finished. Once it's finished and all bolted down, then put your fingers in and, get it in position. Anyway, I'm just moaning, but anyway. So the cage is on, there's 2 little brackets here which hook onto the sway bar, so the sway bar now works both it's hold down in the middle. Roof's on, again I'll position that slightly differently. Electrics cover is on, never really understood the purpose of that if I'm honest. Yeah, not sure why that's there, what that does. So also just got the rear shock tower in position, which bolts down on this metal bracket. So just looking at the instructions now, we're up to 34, which is to put this FRP or GRP battery plate underneath, and then we can get the rear shocks on. And the last bolt to secure the cage down. So let's get that done. Right, we're getting there now. So rear shocks are obviously now on. Put this little bracket down here where you can put a tie wrap to keep the motors away, so when the body shell goes on, keeps it out of the way. Turn it upside down. That's in place now. Now, one of the big things about the Super Shot, it has now a full piece that covers, I'll just show you it, in fact, it's like a full chassis protector that goes on the underneath of it and attaches to the bumper here. So that's actually the next stage. If I bypass putting the tyres on the wheels and the adapters. So yeah, we'll get this fitted, and then we might as well put the wheels and tyres on the car. I think, yeah, that looks kind of a plan. Right, so bumper's on now. As I say, it's got this cool tray that protects it now, which was a nice touch for the Super Shot. I think did the Hotshot 2 have that on as well after? I think it might have done. And then we have this big heavy duty bumper. Right, next stage is put the wheel adapters on, put the wheels and tyres on, and I want to put the 2 metal aerials on because the Hotshot, the Super Shot has to have those. It's like the big wig, has to have both metal aerials or antennas, whatever you want to call them. It just looks so cool. Right, so that was the last bit. Tyres on the wheels on the car, and the two metal antennas, which, as I say, I really like. It's cool. Suspension wise, I've just put the medium sized collar on the back. The rear suspension is really soft, but the fronts, I've never really rated the fronts, and if I was going to run this properly, I would definitely look at those front shocks. I'd try soften them, maybe go into a 3-hole piston. I think it's got a 2-hole, I'm not too sure, but maybe go to a 3-hole, maybe even go lighter oil, I don't know, because for me, that ain't great. And again, there's minimal damping on the rear. At least you can see it doing something. But anyway, yeah, and that was the first chance we got to feel the diffs. So yeah, everything's kind of working as it should. Right, so I'll end this video here. Very happy with that. Very, very enjoyable build. And yeah, I just love this car. But the next video, when I do the body shell and wing, that's the one I'm looking forward to, because once it's all together, it's just a very special looking car for me and how I perceived this back in the day. Yeah, just a really, really enjoyable build. It's a pleasure to put together. And if you've never built a Hotshot, it's very different from most other Tamiyas, to be honest. The original red Hotshot was Tamiya's first 4-wheel drive buggy. And then after that, the different sort of incarnations, or maybe not incarnations, but the buggies that superseded it, I don't know, like Boomerang, Thundershot, you know, things like that. And the chassis got easier to work on. Big wig in there as well. Anyway, I'm dribbling on. So yeah, just before I end this video, again, a massive thank you to Euro RC for sponsoring today's video. Massively appreciated. And again, all their details, web to their website, and also our 5% promo discount code is in this video's description. So yeah, please check that out. So my friends, as always, thanks so much for watching. It's massively appreciated, and happy RCing.